Hi there. I haven't done a talk to the camera video in quite a while, so I thought I would get back into this routine by talking about math and giving you kind of a little update. So if you've been watching our videos for very long, you know that we're kind of wackadoodle when it comes to a lot of things, but one of them is math. Last year, when my daughter was in technically second grade, she was doing a third grade curriculum and got through about half of the Good and the Beautiful fourth grade. And she did like Life of Fred Apples through fractions and a bunch of Beast Academy, like Beast Academy 3 and a little bit of Beast Academy 4. And then a lot of primary mathematics as a like review curriculum. So we did a whole bunch of stuff because she was doing pretty easily 2 grade levels every year. And we need to kind of slow that down. So last year kind of worked. We slowed it down by giving her like just way too much busy work. But it was really good because she got the concepts from a lot of different levels and we kind of found her level of competency, which was pretty decent. So we have at this point ditched the primary mathematics. We had been using this as our review curriculum. So last year she did 1A, 1B, 2A, and 2B. So we ditched this. We're done with this. The idea of going and doing third grade math again felt like torture to her because she was like, it's gonna all be multiplication, and I know multiplication. I don't need this again. So fine, we ditched it. We did add in this is kind of a new thing. So this is Classical Conversations, and it's in its beta phase, so I'm not going to go super into this. But this is Classical Conversations' new math curriculum. It's really interesting. So get to like a page that find something that like looks like it makes sense. Okay, I'll just go to a random page because I didn't plan this. If I can get the camera. Okay, so it's really interesting. It is copywork based, which is bizarre for math. But what I end up doing with it is I'll read the page to her. We'll discuss the different concepts that she's going to be working on. Make sure she understands all of them. If there's anything she doesn't understand, and they do throw in, what's CC, right? So they throw in a lot of really high level concepts in a very, very basic way. And I'll go and I'll pull out the like everything you need to know about math in one big fat notebook. The big fat notebook books, I keep those on hand as like quick reference books. So I'll pull out that, or I'll pull out the like algebra or geometry one, because I've got like that whole series. So I'll pull those out and then I'll like flip to the appropriate thing, and then we'll read that chapter while she's doing the copy work for that. We're not very on top of this as a curriculum. We don't do it on a regular basis. It's kind of like when I feel like it. And when I want something like light and easy for her to do. What we have decided to do for our main curriculum is to focus on Beast Academy. So she is right now, so this is October, she is right now doing Beast Academy 4C. If you know about the Beast Academy things, they are not based on levels. So when we bought this, they hadn't come out with level 1 yet. They had done like 2 through 4, 2 through 5, something like that. And at the time they were saying that like to start level 2, you should be 8 years old. My daughter is 8 years old. She's doing 4C. So she can do that because she's had all the previous things. So Beast Academy is really fun because the textbook is a comic book. So it's very colorful. It's very sweet. It's cool. And I think it's pretty like gender neutral in its appeal. You would think comic book, it's going to be a little bit more for boys. No, like it has really smart girls in it. And like, there are even some monsters that like, I really can't tell if they're supposed to be boys or girls, but it's cute. And then the actual math problems are far more interesting. Like, okay, we were doing a big section on, it's mastery approach, right? So, it's, you go back over the years, but you do like a whole unit on one topic and then move on to the next topic. So we just finished one up on factors, and then the factors kind of moved into prime factorization. And I loved that she was, she's 8 years old and she's getting to work with prime numbers on a regular basis and really start to understand them and understand, what's going on there. So like, she was building factor trees and separating out like, okay, what's the prime factorization of 600? Well, it's 2 to the third power times 3 times 5 to the second power. But you don't know that until you break it all up. And then it's teaching them slowly over time to be able to do this in their head and find it. And we love doing math in our heads. So it's like a big shtick for my husband is he does a lot of math like on walks. He'll be pushing the stroller and reading out loud, and she'll be, walking beside him or in front of him. And he'll be, making her do long division while they're walking, and she can't see it. She's walking. So it's a lot of like keeping the numbers in your head as you're going down. And that's a lot of fun. And I like being able that she's had that background, because then when she comes in and she's doing more of a visual approach, because they do a lot of puzzles, that she, is getting it from a different point of view. So like this was factor puzzles. So factor blob puzzles. So you've got, I don't know how to get it to not be blown out. So you've got all the numbers in here in a little box, and you've got to find a way to make the factor groups that will add up to the target number or multiply up to the target number without, crossing each other and things like that. So very, very cute. And like actual brain teasers, like my husband and I will like work on them with her and be like, man, this one is really hard. And they have the really hard ones as star problems so that you can skip them if, your kid's not really ready for it. Because sometimes it's not that they don't understand the concept, it's that like, okay, this problem will probably take you 20 minutes or, 10 minutes or something like that. It will take you longer than the other problems. So just be okay with that. I am personally having a hard time with this as a program that we're doing on a daily basis, because I want to be the mom and go like, okay, so there are, what are there? Basically 100 pages in a book. So you should do this many pages per day, this many days a week to be able to complete this by this benchmark so that we can have done this and this and this and this throughout the course of the year. And you can do that with Beast Academy, but some days would be really easy and some days would be torture, because some of these problems are just insanely hard. And, sometimes I get home, because I'm the working parent, if you're new to the channel, the working outside the home parent. My husband definitely does more work. But sometimes I get home and they're like, well, we did 3 problems today. I'm like, what? It's like, it took her an hour and we did 3 problems. Like, what were these problems? And then you realize, like, oh, these problems had like 27 steps to them. Or, it was the first time that she was getting introduced to a concept, and it was taking them a while to figure out how that bit of math was supposed to work, or why it was supposed to work, because my daughter is very big on why. Like, it's fine that this and this go together and become this, but if she doesn't understand it completely and she doesn't like know it down to the like minutia of why it works, she's gonna have a whole thing about just like not wanting to do it, because she's like, well, there's no reason to just go through the steps if I have no idea why it works. So do it. And that's another reason that I have to add something to this when we do it, is this does not teach. So this is copy work. It gives you, very basic information. And then it doesn't really teach it at all. It expects you to memorize it and then build on it later. So I didn't really go over what's in here. So I'm going to go into a little bit of what's in here. So it starts off looking at numerals and number notation. So it starts off 0D. Then it goes into one-dimensional and looks at comparison, addition and subtraction, multiplication, division, exponents, and equations. Then it goes into a section on two-dimensional. So it goes into geometry, planar space, straight lines, intersecting lines, curved lines, polygons, circles and ellipses, construction, assignment, triangles and circles, intersected shapes, transformations. Then it goes into 3D, human space, so open spaces, solid spaces, locations, populations. Then it goes into 4D, intersecting spaces, so it talks about metrics, rates of change, accumulated change. Then it goes into ND, imaginary or in space, complex numbers, proofs, seeing the unseen, and reflection. And the idea is that it's going to cover, it's going to cover all of those concepts every single year as you go through classical conversations. So you start off, in the little kid foundation years, and you're still getting introduced to all these concepts, but at a very basic level, kind of this is the concept. Be aware of its existence. And then you don't really start working with it until you're, in the challenge years, which is like their high school. So kind of a cool thing. It's the beta test for it. So I don't even know if I'm really allowed to talk about it, but it like says beta, like right across all the sheets. Like, don't give this out. It's like, okay, we won't. But I think when they come out with a real curriculum, because they only released like one of the really young foundation years, and I think the challenge kids are getting to test out like 1 year of calculus this year. And I think like only some of the communities are doing that. So if they come out with a full curriculum that you can actually like buy, I would be really interested to see like what level I'd want to do with her, because it's really hard. Like because of the weird way that we do math, I don't precisely know what level, like grade level I would put her in, because like Beast Academy is like an honors program. So it's, I don't know. I think 4C is probably like 5th grade, 6th grade. I mean, I know that when we were doing Math 4 for the Good and the Beautiful, she was getting really frustrated with it because she was just like, even they came out with their new program, and their new program is great. It really is so much more streamlined than the original, the Good and the Beautiful Math. But it was too easy for her. We shouldn't have still been doing it. She felt like all of it was review and it was all busy work, and she already had a review math, and why is she doing 2 review maths? And it was getting really frustrating for her. And then at the same time, we were doing Life of Fred fractions, and I think that's like at 6th or 7th grade, and that was starting to get hard. Now, she also has to do that in her head. We don't let her write anything down for Life of Fred. That's all mental math. So that was starting to get really hard for her. It wasn't, so Life of Fred fractions, that's like a misnomer on their thing, because like their levels, you should look them up. They're really interesting. I think I did a video on like a whole bunch of things for Life of Fred, but a lot of people do their elementary series, which is like apples through jelly beans, or apples through jelly beans. And then it gets into like an intermediary, which is like mine cart or mine shaft, and I don't know, liver and weird things. They have like silly names. And then in their like middle school, junior high levels, they start getting really normal names. So, and then in high school, that's, pre-algebra, algebra, all that stuff. So it's really good. We have the books all the way up to all of the pre-algebras, and they have like pre-algebra with economics, pre-algebra with biology, pre-algebra with physics, things like that. And we have all of those, so I am looking forward to doing those. I think we'll probably go back into Life of Fred next year. We were going to consider starting back over with apples this year and doing it as a thing. It's just been a time crunch, and we've been doing so much that it's gotten ridiculous. So time crunch. So I've rambled on for a while, and that is pretty much where we're at on math. We're going to be sticking to the Beast Academy thing, and doing that as our primary math curriculum, and then just doing, little supplemental stuff. As you know, we're big into games, so we do a lot of math games. I think we probably play, right now she's super into Prime Climb, so we play Prime Climb like all the time. I'm getting a little sick of it, so we're gonna have to probably buy some new math games. I was playing Proof with her the other day, and that was really fun. It's hard for her because it's like a speed math game, so you have to be the first one to find the math problems in the cards that are just kind of sitting out. So it's very creative, very fast thinking. So it's fun to find things that are like really challenging for her that she pushes back on, and then make her do it until she's really good at it. It's like, you got to force your kids, right? So anyways, I am going to try to do these videos more often and kind of get back into talking to the camera. I have been doing a lot of more like on the kids side, educational side, videos lately, just because I noticed that in classical conversations, my daughter wasn't paying attention to the science and English content as much. She wasn't memorizing those as easily. And, I get it. She likes history and math. Great. She's going to memorize that really easily. But this is her 3rd year in community, 4th year doing CC, and I need her to actually pay attention to all of the memory work and not be so selective. So I have made a bunch of content over there. I really just did it for my daughter, and people seem to be watching it, so that's neat. So all right, thank you guys so much, and I'll try to remember to do this again more often. Thanks. Bye.